Hello to all Ragic users, no matter wherever you are in the world. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is Fabio, basically the speaker of this Ragic webinar, and probably if you have been following us in the previous Ragic webinars, yes, it has always been me in the past a year and so. And today we're going to be talking about basically I'm going through the basic steps of creating a simple database for your organization and showing you some of the general and most used tools in Ragic. And of course, most of the tools are one of my favorite tools that I like to use in my own database system. And right now, in my time zone, it's 9:29 a.m. I'm in Tainan, Taiwan right now. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask right now. And in the meantime, let's just wait for a few minutes and to let more users to join. And yeah, feel free to ask any questions to sort of like interact with me. And I'll answer you orally during this, like in the stream. And on the other hand, basically I would like to apologize that this is another work from home webinar session. So I do not have like the perfect equipment, perfect places. And so if there are some issues with the webinar, such as there's some issues with the audio or any other issues that you experience when viewing this webinar, please let me know. I'll try to get them fixed if possible, but if not, I'll probably have to apologize to you. And yeah, I guess that's how it's going to be working today. And yeah, I mean, I think I will be returning to the office pretty quickly in the near future, since Taiwan's coronavirus situation has been better recently. So I guess I'll be back and our lives will be a little bit more normal, and I hope wherever you are, you guys are having a better situation with the coronavirus. I received a thank you from user Joyce Stefan, if I pronounced your name correctly, and thanks for participating in this webinar. And yeah, just ask me any questions if you would like to. By user Brian Brower say, by waiting for stranglers, you are rewarding procrastinators. Well, sort of. I would sort of like to get some time with more people to join at the start of the webinar stream. And right now, I kind of like to use this time as like a Q&A session. If you guys have any questions. And I'm just going to wait here for another minute or so. So if people they might not be on time or might miss a little bit more, then I mean they could join and get the content as much as possible. All right, it's 9:34 in my time zone right now. I think it's time to get this webinar started. So today we're going to be talking about, I'm guiding you through the basic steps of creating your Ragic database. And right now, this page is the home page of Ragic. This is where you can register an account, a database account. So what you need to register is, first of all, you need to name your database. So for example, I would like to name it as webinar 2, and then enter your full name here, like such as Fabio Quo, and enter your email address. This is very important because then the email address will be the user account to enter your database. So in Ragic, you have two types of account for your database. First of all is the database account, which is the domain. So if I create a webinar 2 database account, this will be the domain, www.ragic.com/webinar2, and this is basically my name, the name where you need to create a display name in your database. And the email, this is really important because this is the email ID or the user ID for you to enter your database. So you need this email account. So for example, fabio@ragic.com. I already created this email account already. So I would need to log in with this account, fabio@ragic.com, to enter this database. So yeah, I need to in other words, I need to log in with my user account to enter my database account. So creating a database and registering your database, you will need these two types of accounts. And of course, you need the password as well. For user James Gill, please touch the link and little feature if you can, please. Yes, that will be later in the webinar as soon as I start the database, the sheet creations, and I will do that later. So this is how you're going to create your webinar, your database, and once you've completed entering your password, just click sign up for free, and that will be your that will be how you're registering your database. And after you register your database, you will go to this page. This is the database I previously registered, and this will be a blank database page for you to add new sheets, create new entries in them. And right now, that's going to start to create a new sheet for our database. So before we do that, let's just talk quickly about the data organization in Ragic. Once you create new sheets, you can click on the plus button or this button right here. Right here, you need to add a tab. So I'm going to call this webinar 0720, which is today's date. Save. Yep, I've saved the tab right here, and to put this place up, right here up top. Design new sheet. I'm going to create a new sheet here. Today I'm going to create a sort of like classes, courses, classes, and client organization sheet. And right here, I'm going to first of all create a client sheet. And once you've completed the name with it, you can click on create. And other ways of creating a new sheet is to import your Excel file or install our template. But today we're going to create a new sheet from scratch. And right here, you're going to see that in Ragic, your sheets are organized under the tabs, and your data or records will be organized in your sheet. And you're going to see the record and data part after I finish creating my sheet later. Click on create. Now you have a completely blank sheet for you to design your sheet. So for a client sheet, I'm going to record my client information right here. So in order to have users record them, you need to create the sheet for them to enter the data in. Right now you're in the sheet creation step, and let's do it right now. And of course you can apply those quick templates right here if you would like to, but I'm going to create a new sheet from scratch. So first of all, let's create a new sheet. Let's create the new fields. It's like designing an Excel sheet, but I mean it does look similar with like the rows and columns, but there's a bit of difference, and I'll show you all the differences later. So right now, I will need some fields. So for example, client ID. As you can see, it was a free text field, but after I entered ID, the system automatically guesses this field type as an auto-generate field. If you would like to change the field type back to free text, you can do so. Just click on the menu right here, basic field type, click on it, change it to free text easily. And what else? What fields do I also need? Full name, gender, selection, male, female, not applicable. Email, phone, membership level. This I want to change it to another selection field, and address. So right now I have a simple 7 fields to record for users to record their client information. What I have is a client ID, full name, gender, email, phone, membership level, and address. There are different types of field types, right here already. For example, the gender is a selection field, allows users to select from a menu with the choices that you have determined previously already. Email field, for users to enter their email. Phone is basically entering a phone number. Membership level, I like it as a selection field, and I can customize my selections too. So for example, gold, silver, bronze, starter. And this is basically the normal independent fields. Other than those normal independent fields, since these are only for one-to-one relationships, for example, a client may only have one client name, one type of gender. However, sometimes you need to record multiple information for a client. So for example, in this case, a client may have 2 or more emergency contact information. So right now I'm going to create an emergency contact information with a subtable. So emergency contact name, phone, email, a relationship with client. So as you can see, the fields are aligned differently right now, since the independent fields, you have one place for one. You'll need to take up 2 cells, one for the field header or the field name, and one, like the B column right here. This will be where your users will be entering data, so it's going to be taking up 2 cells. That's for the independent fields. However, for these types of fields, which are subtables, the field header will be always on top of where users will be entering values. And if you like them to be in one subtable, the fields have to be stick with each other. And this is basically how you're going to be creating subtable fields. Now another type of field will be called description fields or field descriptions. Here's what is that? So for example, if I would like to add a title on top of these two field groups, I need to click on description, and I'm going to maybe like emergency contact information. Merge cells to make it wider and make it in the middle. Change the font size to 28 to making the font size bigger. Maybe it's too big, so I'm going to make it smaller. Yeah, 24 is a good number. And I can also add a background to it. This is adding like some of the field artistic design with them. And right here, I can also add information. So client general information. Again, the description field, make it wider, change the font size. Oops, a bit too big. I can make it 20 and make it in the middle and add a background color to it. This can also be applied to your fields as well. Just click on your field and go to styles to change the style artistics for them. Changing the font, changing the color of the text, changing the background color of the text, font size, etc. And right now, click on this, click on save, and then your sheet will be saved. what you can do is now I can enter your emergency contact, a client contact information and their emergency contact information. So client ID, I'm going to enter my own ID. So ID 123, full name. This one will be myself. I'll say Fabio Quill. Gender male. Email Fabio@ragic.com. Phone. I have a membership level, gold, and right now in below I can also enter my emergency contact name. Brown. And after you finish entering a record, you can click on Save. This will be the form page of your data. And if you have noticed previously, in the subtable right here, it by default gives you 3 empty rows to enter your data, or sort of like to specify it as like this is a subtable. However, if you enter more than 3 records, it will automatically give you an empty row for you to enter a new record. So don't worry about the number of rows that your subtables have. It will automatically give you a new row once you have finished the spaces in the existing rows. And this is the form page. Let's go to another page called the listing page, right here. So right here, this will list all the information of all your client's information, but you can select which to display and which to not display. So for example, I can customize this listing page, and I don't want it to be too messy, so I can delete the address fields, the phone field, and maybe the gender field to just leave 4 fields in the listing page. Click Save. Now right here I only display 4 fields here. However, the form page has not changed. It's still as usual, having all the fields if needed. And that's the listing page. And if I can also add a new record right here if a quick add is enabled. So ID 124. We have another membership level. And also click, if you do not enable autosave, you always remember to click on save once you completed creating a new record or editing an existing record. Click save. And the designs and edits of our entry in the listing page will reflect on the form page as well, but since we do not have these fields, gender, phone, and address, and of course you can't add the subtable fields, these fields and these field values can only be processed in your form pages. So for example, a gender, maybe a gender, I have to edit them here. And again, click on save. So this is how quickly you can create a client information sheet. And on the other hand, let's go through some of the field settings that you may apply on your fields. So for example, let's just click on normal field and go to the basics. Like for example, for the client ID, you do not want them to be, you do not want to have duplicated values, and they must to be entered. You can click on make it not empty and make it unique. So by doing that, users will have to enter a unique new value, and yes, and they have to make it not empty. There are also other functions that you may apply to, actually settings instead of functions. Settings you can apply to your fields, such as make it read-only, widen the column span, like what I've just done with the emergency contact information. Do not clone, meaning that when I clone a record, the values on this field will not clone. And no wrap text, the text will not wrap. You can make it as a barcode. Hide this field. This is really, I'll show you why you need to do them in my next step, which I'll be talking about multiple versions. And also ignore record lock, meaning that if you lock the record, this field will not be locked. Again, save. Let's just see how unique and non-empty works. So if I click on new record, this is empty. I click on save. Field client ID contains empty value. Doesn't allow you to save. If I make it a duplicated value, ID 124, client ID 124 is already in the database. Basically, the system prevents you from saving the new record. Let me just answer a question from user Dan J. Is it possible to input the sheet through an online form that the client himself can fill in? Well, basically, this depends on the access rights settings of your database, and if you want your clients to fill in their own information by themselves, they can do so if you have granted the related access rights. For example, if I'm just going to say that you can register as a client by yourself, what you need to do is go to form settings, go to access rights, go to everyone, visitors who are not signed in yet, change the access rights right here, and make them as survey users so they can create and edit their own entries. And for more information about access rights, I think I've talked about this in the previous webinars, and I will be going through the other settings, the other access rights settings with the multiple versions, and you're going to see how you can differentiate different access rights to same pool of data. And yes, I'm going to do that right now. So if you want a client to fill their own information, but not all the information, and you want another sheet to have their client information with certain information that you do not want the public to see. And what you need to do is to use form tools and click multiple versions. Use same data source on new sheet. Click on duplicate sheet. This is a client sheet. You're gonna rename it as internal use. So right now I have a completely duplicated sheet called the client sheet internal use, and I can change the design. So client information, I can add a new description field here for, such as, this is called internal info. Again, font size, I like the column span to be 2, because if it's a title, it probably needs to cover the field header and the field value area. Again, make it 20, and make it in the middle. Let's give it the color orange. Let's add new fields right here. So responsible sales, date, confirm. I'm just adding these two fields quickly right here, and it'll ask you, would you like to add them to another sheet? I'd say no. After I click on save, and right here, internal info will only be displayed on this internal use sheet. If I click on save right here, whoops. But when I go back to the client sheet, it's not there. So that's how you can differentiate, like you want certain people to see certain fields, and others to not see certain fields, you need to create of the same sheet basically. You need to create a multiple version to basically create two versions of the sheet. They will be seeing the same group of data, but the same group of records and its data, but to see it differently. So let's go through the client sheet internal use. So as I mentioned, this is very handy, and I will suggest you to accompany it with access rights settings. So again, go to form settings. In this one, for the user group, it's set as bulletin user, which means create and edit own entries and view all entries. I do not want the user group to see anything because this is only for internal use, and I will only want a certain group of users to see it. Set it as no rights. For this case, I only want the sales group to see. So the sales group can be bulletin users, whilst maybe the management group, they may be set as survey users. And just for your information, users are added to user groups, and your sheets, basically your sheet's access rights is determined by user groups. So what you need to do is add the user to a user group, and the user group will gain access rights to a sheet. And if needed, one user can be in multiple user groups. That is for you to basically do a better internal management for your access rights and users. And of course, for different types of users, you may also apply different sheet settings, such as changing the design of the fields, for example. I probably want to make this field really a bit funky, I guess. Changing the styles, the label to this purplish pink. And changing the field settings. So for example, the member selections, I don't want the internal employees to modify the client information that I've entered. I can go to basic, make it read only, and also these other fields as read only as well. What I've done here, the settings will only be applied on this sheet for most cases, but it will not be applied on the other client sheet. So as you can see, this one is complete. I can still edit these fields, the phone, membership level, etc. But if I go to the client sheet for internal use, I can't do anything with these fields, and the read-only fields are grayed out. And of course, I can hide the fields if needed, but I don't think it's necessary for this scenario. So let me just answer a question from user Lizette Lim. I apologize if I do not pronounce your name correctly. Can you link subtables? For example, if an emergency contact appears for multiple clients, is it possible to do a query to see all the clients for a particular emergency contact? So if you're referring to the fact that an emergency contact, a person is an emergency contact for multiple clients, yes, that will, you can do that, but you can do that in your sheet design, but I can't do it in my own settings. This will be related to link and load, and I will talk more about the three types of linking relationships, probably in the next few minutes in the webinar. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a courses sheet to allow clients to register for new courses, and you're going to see when they register new courses, they can go back to their own internal client sheet to see which courses they've registered. So right now, let me just create more client information first for later use for link and load. Oops, I should go back to the client sheet first. And I apologize if you guys see some Chinese in my computer. This is because my MacBook is in the Chinese version. Let me just quickly create some new records. I'm just gonna add new names to my new database. I think that'll be faster. Or I just created 5 names in my database, and I'll just change their membership level quickly. Okay, right now I'm going to create a new courses sheet. So, a new sheet called courses. So in my mind, I'm thinking about like gym or fitness courses. So let's just create the fields needed for the courses. So for example, the course ID, course name, course description, and price. Again, click on save. This is basically like the general using the independent fields for course information. And if you'd like to have a bigger space for course description, other than merging cells, I can also make it higher by dragging the height of this. I guess is this column or this. I'm this row. Sorry. And make it merge cells to make it sort of like a description, like a paragraph field. And also I'm going to add subtables for adding participants. So this is where you'll be talking about link and load. So form tools, go to link and load. In order for clients to select clients to join this course, let's go to the client sheet and we can use the really important function called link and load. So we're going to link it with the client ID, and we're going to populate it with the client name and gender, email, and I guess membership level. I think that's enough. And we can click on save right here. This is a subtable with link and load features set. So what I can do is I can create a course ID. Let me change I'm going to use an auto-generate field, but changing the formatting of it. So what the auto-generate field does is when I create a new record, it automatically generates a value within the sequence. So I'm going to say starters weights, course description weight training for starter, and change the location. And you can add a map here, or if I can also change the field type to a free text, and time 12:30, and the price will be 400 per lesson. And let me change right now. You can see that there might be some issues with the form design right here. Now what you can do is when you're testing it and you see there's an issue, just go change design and change what you like to do. So location, I do not want to be set as an address. I just want to be as a free text. I can change the field type, and I don't like the time format because I like to add the date in. So I can change the date format type if I want to. I've just added year, month, day, hour, and minutes in. Click save. And yes, I have a form. I can reformat and re-enter the values of my time. And let's just go to today's 2021, and it's July 20th, and around 12:30, and a location. Classroom C. And I just created a new course information list. And if I would like to add the participants in, go to client ID. And I guess this because I've already added the link and load. If I select the user, so if I select myself, it will populate the related information and it will be saved in this record. And I can do it for more users as well. This is how link and load works, and this is how you build data relationships between one sheet and another. And right now, let me just answer another question from user Dan J. Is it possible to create multiple forms for both clients and employees that will place information in the same database in different sheets, like customer registration and customer satisfaction for both? So let me think. Let me just try to decrypt your question. If you are you referring to the fact that you have two groups of users? So, for example, a client is a user and an employee is another group of users. They would like to place information in the same database but on different sheets, and those sheets are basically not related. Yes. Basically, you just need to create the sheets needed and set them with grant them with access rights, and they will be only able to access the sheets and use the sheet with the accessibility settings, and that's how they can process data on your sheets. And let me just add another here, Taylor Rice. Let's click on save, and this is basically like a course, and then we can register it right here. Let's just create another few more courses. Course 002, simple yoga. And just right here in the fields, for the date field and for the time fields, you can select it. You can use it with our field picker, with our field date and time pickers, or you can enter it by yourselves too. If I for user Lizard Lim, how do I do, if I want to see all courses offered in Classroom C, just wait a minute, please. I'll show you how to do that after I create a few more courses, or I mean, it will be a little bit weird if there's only one record in the database and then you query it and you only see one date. Like it doesn't do a lot of changes if I do not have a lot of records in yet. So let me just add a few more records for you to see the difference. There's ID, James Parker, Taylor Rice, save. Just add another one. Let's just have it do it at night. And let me just add another, the price will be this one, 150, I guess. And also just to, some people may have asked, I'm not sure if you guys will have this issue. If you would like to change the formatting or like of the price field, you can also do so. So for example, you can change the symbol sign. So price, if you don't want the dollar symbol, you probably want like the pound symbol or other symbols, you can change the formatting directly right here. Just for information. And as requested from user Lizard Lim, I will show you how to do filtering first. So, as requested from user Lim, if I want to see all the courses offered in Classroom C, how am I going to do queries? There are two types of queries you can do in the Ragic database. One is by entering in the search engine in the right top right here. So if I enter Classroom C, whoops, typo, my bad. It will use this will be full text search. It will be if you have records indices that match what you've entered, it will populate down here. So because this classroom has been matched and there's also another C value that's matched, this one is populated. This is not what you want. To make it accurate, I suggest you use filtering via the field headers. So location, classroom, C, submit. Now I can see that only classroom C's only the course in classroom C's will be displayed in the listing page, and all filtering are done in the listing page unless it's filtering by subtables. And let's clear this filter right now. You can filter by the field headers right here, or you can filter by the left sidebars here. So if, for example, course name, I will find running. I'm just going to enter run. Let's go to search. And only displays the course name that has run, as the text that has matched run. So this is how you'll be filtering data in Ragic. And of course, there are you can add multiple filtering conditions from the left side bar, and just remember to click on search. And other than that, on the field headers, you can also apply sorting. So with time fields, you can set it from oldest to newest. It will change the sorting. And course name can also sort from A to Z, etc. Can I export filtered data on Excel sheet? After you filter, just click on Tools and download as Excel or text. So for example, let me just show it for you. Tools, download as Excel or text, and entry and right now, like, you finish your configurations, entries, download, and you have downloaded a new file. Let's see how this file looks. I have to change my screen right here. Whoops, let me see how I'm going to do this. So right now you see that right now I have one entry right here, and my downloaded Excel file looks like. Whoops, let's see. Let me. I'm trying to get my Excel file out in my OBS screen. Oops. So this is what I've just exported. Just one record, and this is filtered and it has exported correctly. And let's continue with with our webinar. So after I've let's just clear the filter right here. Refresh the screen. So other than that, I can also add apply a formula to the subtables. This is in Ragic. You can also add formulas in. So if I would like to count the number of clients registered in the course, I can use a formula. Change it to a numeric field and add a formula. Just simply count the number of entries in the subtable. So just going to say count A11, save, and apply all formulas to basically recalculate. So right now it counts like there are 2 clients right here. If I add a new client, save, it changes to 3. I can also apply other types of formulas. So if I would like to count the number of gold, basically a number of gold members, so number of gold again, change it to a numeric field. This one, we're going to do it with a conditional count formula, so it's going to be count if E11, if E11 is gold, let's count E11, I think I got these wrong, E11. Then save, apply. So I only have one gold member right here, and the number of registered client is 3, but I only have one gold member. This is automatically calculated. If I add another gold member, it makes it to 2, and makes it to 4 right here. This will be automatically updated in terms of the settings you have applied, the formula settings you have applied in your database. So one user, I forgot which user it was, but they have requested how you can like consolidate all the subtable entries. If you have been following our social media pages, I've just uploaded a tutorial video about it. So let's just make all registration as their own individual records. How are you going to do that? Go to Form Tools, New Sheet from Subtable. And it will link back to the sheet by selecting a course ID. So done, create new sheet. It's called Client ID. I can change the name of the sheet, called Client Registration. And I can basically by default, the field will be populated this way. You can change the design. So I want the client ID to be at the top and the course information to be in the bottom. And if I would like to add fields from the courses sheet, click on this sheet, I can go to link field from parent sheet, click courses, have course name, course description, location, and price. And I've got time actually. I'll just rearrange these fields by dragging them. Click on save. And all their information, like one registration will be populated as independent fields right here. And what I can do is I can create a new record. For example, I may probably want let's go to ID 127. And I can select a course. And they might be wanting to join the starter's weight training. I can select it right here and save. So a new record has been created here in classrooms. The classroom C, the starter's weight training, and it will be reflected back in the courses sheet. Let's go to the starter's weight training. This is the record that I've just added in the client registration form right here. This one. And right here, I've added it, but it also reflects back in the courses sheet in the subtable. From user Joy Stefan, how do you remove a member? Well, if you're removing a member from the subtable, just click on the clicking on like the subtable, and there's like this remove button right here. You could remove it, and it's gone. If you'd like to remove a record completely, like for example, you said from the client sheet, all you need to do is click on it, click on like this box, delete selected, and you can select multiples to delete as well. So let's just go back to the client registration form. It basically lists all the fields in the listing page, and instead of having it organized in the subtables in the courses sheet, this is for individual registration, and each will be populated as its own individual record. But this sheet is synced with the courses sheet because it's actually generated from that sheet. And of course, as mentioned, let's just try this one. This was the sheet that was supposed to do filtering on, since there's a lot of records here. So the genders, we can also add a total. Other than filtering, we can also check the total and summary. It will show you the summary of all the values. So for example, right here, male and female. male and female, there's 8 records and 2 records right here, and clicking on these values will make you filter it right there. Another way to filter your records is to right click on a field value, and you can filter gender by this field value. And since we have done link and load with our user ID, I went to the page before, with the client ID, we can link the client registration back to the client sheet. So let's do this. Client sheet. Go to the design mode and going to registered courses. Oops, actually, this one should be a description field. Make it, I guess 4, 5. 4. Change it to, I like this color actually. And then the feature is for us to link it from the client registration back to the client sheet, go to form tools, and we can show reference on existing sheets, aka creating a reference subtable. Client registration link field, drag it down to the place where you like it to be. Select the fields that you would like to display. I guess I don't need all the fields for gender, email, which was already there. Your email, membership level. And all you can do is insert subtable. There's 6 fields, so I'll make the column span a bit wider. Click on save. Oops. So let's use mine was more complete. So emergency contact, this was the original emergency contact subtable I've just entered. But right here with the reference subtable, it also automatically populates all my registered courses right here down here. And right here down here, and also I can also apply other formulas to, for example, like the number of courses joined. I can also number of courses joined, and also like the number of courses, the total price paid. So I can add a numeric field. Oops, let me just go to free text. And change it to a price field. Basically, a price field works very similar with a numeric field. The main difference is that it has a symbol by default. And what I just need to total it up, just set the formula as F21. It automatically obtains the sum of the subtable field. Save, recalculate, and OK. Yes, and automatically makes the calculations. And this is basically, I've just showed you guys the 3 basic steps of linking your sheets. Most importantly, the link and load, like the basic steps of linking your sheets together. Create a new sheet from Subtable. So if you have a Subtable, you can create a new sheet, but that new sheet will be linked with your original sheet. And that sheet, and what I've just done the other way around, which is having an existing sheet, but because there's link and load set up there, I can use a reference subtables to reference the link and load, the records there. So I'll just answer some questions quickly. User Lizette Lim, can I import data from Excel to create a new sheet with Ragic? Yes, just click on create a new sheet right here, and then you can select to create a new sheet with my Excel file. And once you click on create, let it load. You can select the Excel file you'd like to import, but make sure that your file is formatted correctly, meaning that the first row, it must be the field headers, and all the other records must be followed by its own like individual records. So one row beneath the first row will be one record, the second row will be another record, etc. make sure your Excel file is formatted correctly, or else you won't be able to import your data. So from user Dan J, does Ragic work with calendar apps such as like Outlook or Google? Meaning I can use API and Zapier. One is creating a calendar and it can be recorded in a Ragic subtable. We do support API and Zapier integration, and for more information, actually let's just go here. To the listing page, we do support connect. This one is Zapier integration, and if needed, and we're also open for API integration. If needed, I should post this in. We do have an API document in our document area. So let me get this out quickly. www.ragic.com. So if you like Zapier integration, we do have a document on Zapier integration right here. And for API, we also have another document for API integration right here. And just click on it and you can see how you can use integrate your what you like to do. And if you would like to have others support you and assist you with those, you can go to our community page and go to the work offered section for more information. And for basically, we have some of our partners who are also IT experts. They can help you with that. So I guess we do have a lot of questions today. I'm going to save some more time for more Q&A about this webinar, and just quickly go through what we've done today. Is basically I've just showed you how to create a new database, starting from how to register one from the home page using your database name and your username or your email ID. After going to the page, make sure you need to create a new sheet to record your data, and basically it's just simply how to create new fields and also different field types. Also, using multiple versions is really important to have one sheet or one set of data displayed differently to different groups of people. The other thing that we really we investigated pretty heavily on is using use the different ways to link your data in Ragic, such as using link and load and using reference subtables or new sheet from subtables to reference or regenerate a new sheet with your data in the subtable. And basically using link and load, your data will work more like a database-based system. So as you may see that in a lot of cases, when I create a new record on one sheet, it will populate on other sheets, either in the subtables or elsewhere. This is really beneficial, especially if you have been using Excel or other spreadsheet softwares where it's very hard to build. It will be very difficult to build data relationships, meaning that you will need to copy in and paste or manually look at a screen and then memorize it and then type it on another field. In Ragic, since everything with the link and load, everything can be synced very tightly. So this is very helpful. And also we've also shown you how to set formulas in Ragic, and also just how you're going to use filtering and sorting. Basically, these are like the general steps of creating basically creating your database, and also the key features. We also do have quite many features that you may apply to your database, which are more advanced, and I would say they are very helpful, but they can be a little bit more advanced. What I will do in my next webinar is I will create a sheet for you to submit your questions, and I'll answer them during the next webinar, which will be in a month's time. Adding the link in the descriptions under this webinar, and also in the promos of the upcoming webinar, and you can ask your questions there about anything about Ragic in general. But please be aware that your questions will be in public, so people will know what I'm saying when answering your questions. So A quick question from user Joyce Stefan. Has this been used for manufacturing? If you're referring to has Ragic been used for people in the manufacturing industry, yes, and we may have some of the templates you can install. So click install templates. And here are some templates that you can install to your database, and we do have a manufacturing template, a product management template you can install to your database. And they are pre-designed sheets, and you may use them first, and if you think you need to do a slight customization on the templates, just like what I've just done with my sheets, just go to change design and change the templates, change the design, change the how you like the data system to work, etc. Change it however you like. And in the meantime, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them right now. And for the last few minutes, I'll be here. I'll be basically here to answer your questions. Is it possible to export different fields from different subtables into a report that can... If you like to generate for user Dan J, is it possible to export different fields from different subtables into a report? Are you referring to the fact that you would like to export a field, the subtable fields that are under different independent records? So for example, let me go back to the courses sheet. You would like to export this subtable under the running record, and this subtable from the simple yoga record. If that's the case, I will suggest, just like what I've done, create a new sheet from this subtable to consolidate all the subtable information, such as this client registration form, and generate your report from there, or export your data from here. I guess that'll look more like how you like to be displayed. And if it's from the listing page, you can download as Excel or text, download as PDF, printer friendly, or generate it into a Ragic report. We do have some report right here that you may use. If they don't work, you may have to integrate with other report tools, and it may need coding, and we're not responsible for that. Thanks for your kind comments from user James Gill and user Joy Stefan. And another thank you from user Lizette Lim. Thanks to all you guys to join this webinar. And if you have any questions about Ragic, or you would like to share your experiences with using Ragic recently, feel free to share them right here, and I could probably provide you guys with some solutions or assistance. Also, since we do have quite a few users joining this webinar today, would you mind, if you would like to, feel free to tell me where you guys are at right now watching this webinar, since we kind of want to know the demographics of our webinar participants. So for me, like for example, like I'm in Tainan, Taiwan, which is in the south of Taiwan. Our office is based in Taipei, Taiwan. And yeah, I'd like to know where you guys are from right now. Thanks for all your information from users. Lizette Lim, Greg Jogan, user Joy Stefan, and user Dan J. And if I think for most cases, Ragic will work for your organization. It just depends on how you are designing your database and what are your database requirements. And if needed, if you need some assistance or guidance from us, feel free to click on the Need Help button located in the top right corner of your database to submit a support ticket. And this is where you're going to be submitting a support ticket. Just write your subject, write the details, such as the sheet that you're having problem with or steps to reproduce your issue. And if needed, you can also select a file to basically for us to have a better understanding of your issue. And once everything is done, just click on this button to submit and grant Ragic support access to your account. And also, if I would suggest when entering those support tickets, please be as detailed as possible so we can clearly know what you need. So in quite a few cases, I'm part of the support team as well, we do have to ask the clients for more information about what they need in order to give a very comprehensive answer. So yeah, just try to be as detailed in the first place, and basically the more the better. And from user Danjay, what report generation integration is Ragic working with? We have our own we have our own reporting tools, and it's all right here. I'm not sure about what you mean by report generation because we use it with our own our reporting tools. And these are the tools that are supported in the Ragic database. And if you guys have other suggestions of new tools, you may also email them to us and we can see if we can submit a feature request. And using it in the education sector, I guess it will work. Again, depends on how your database requires and how your data would like to be displayed. So for more information or about how we can guide you, feel free to send us an email and we can provide you with more detailed and personalized support. Yeah, I'm not really sure what crystal reporting is. I'm sorry. If you need to integrate with other reports, feel free. It probably needs coding or at least exporting to another place, I guess. Do I suggest well, first of all, if you need to create a database, you need to know like the first of all, the first things first, you need to know your organization and how the organization processes the data. You didn't know that as well as possible. This is because if you don't know, because you're most likely building a system for your whole organization or at least a team. So you need to know it really well. And second of all, if you know the process, you should know this. You should know the steps, such as how you're going from one sheet to another, how sheets are linked. So make sure you know the details. And if it helps, storyboarding or drawing a flow chart will also be helpful for visual references. But I would still suggest you most likely have your own data system already. You probably need to think about how they were processed right there and how you're going to move it to Ragic to make it better. About visual aids such as storyboarding would be useful. It depends. Some people are more like a visual person. Some people are better with pictures or drawings. If that helps people, then of course it's helpful. But some people are better with writing everything down in text. They like to approach it differently, I guess. So I'll be around for another 2 or 3 minutes for your questions, and feel free to ask them right now, or if you would like to, just click on the Need Help button located on the top right corner of your database. So basically the next webinar will most likely be a Q&A session, and you can also ask anything you have experience with Ragic in the Q&A session if you'd like to. So it's 10:42 right now. I guess it's time to basically complete this webinar. Thanks for you guys participating in this webinar, and we'll see you in the near future, probably in a month, in the next webinar. Thanks, and goodbye.